Is everyone ready for this epic race? Who's putting bets on Jaychalke's gonna beat King today and get the redemption round? Are we going to see Burrow as the go mode item? Or are we going to see the another item get checked off here? Yeah, good luck to me. Good luck, chat. Good luck, Jay, coming in to hopefully take down King.Titie. Or it is too late and he's kicked out of the tournament forever. If Jay loses here, he's gonna have to go back to Super Metroid. Everything is on the line. I don't mind co-coms if you want to come on in, Chafe. I like having someone to bounce off of. I don't mind either way. As long as you can provide good commentary. I'm just testing the tracker really quick on my side to make sure that everything is working as it should.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing, sir?
I am grabbing some coffee. That's how I'm doing.
Yeah, I hear you. It's about 9:30 in the morning for me. How about yourself?
I'm mountain, so I've got the 7:30. I'm not too sure what I'm doing. Awakeness thing going on, but it's all good. We get some Ori and the Will of the Wisps action. Looks like both runners have the seeds ready to go. Finishing up some dropping details here. This is, of course, losers bracket semifinals. Where this one goes on to face Aiko, looking to get back into the grand finals against Dr.
Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be interesting to see, who's going to move on from here. And like I was saying earlier, it's going to be interesting to if Jay can actually pull out all the stops and actually defeat King, who is the crowd favorite, tournament favorite. He's been doing a lot of impressive action moving through these seeds. So what do you think? Do you think Jay's going to be the underdog, or is it going to be a slaying today?
Well, King's got a fair amount of speedrun practice under his belt. He's been grinding this game for sure outside of the randomizer. So as far as execution goes, advantage definitely goes to King, I think. But Jay's been grinding the rando, so you're probably going to see one of those seeds, I would figure, where one runner's got the execution advantage and the other one might have routing and knowledge advantage. So could go either way, honestly.
Hello.
Yeah. Hola.
This is Jaychalke here. We are ready in the Ori scheduling, just awaiting the countdown.
Hey,
Yeah,
so
Your tracker is not updating on stream.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, because you have regenerate and bow marked on stream, but I do not have them marked on my tracker.
Okay. Now it should be good.
And
Okay.
knowledge
Yeah, we were
advantage,
just
so,
doing the little
could go either way
here,
on it.
so we're ready to go if you guys are.
Okay. Try it a couple more times.
Yep, everything looks like it's working.
Okay, great. What happened was I had the window on the Restream server minimized, and so it wasn't actually capturing anything. Also, by the way, did you notice I was trying to stop my timer on exactly a second?
Yes, we did notice.
I did it, and so I'm hyped. That means good luck. Okay, we'll be ready in the scheduling channel. Good luck, everyone. Thank you, Shay, for hopping in. I put your name on the Restream there. I'm going to close the Restream, close the
Okay.
channel, and we're going to get this kicked off. Have
All
a
right,
good,
sounds
have a
good,
good
man.
time.
Good luck.
Sounds good. All right. So we are ready to go here, guys. Like Jay said, the racers are in the race channel, ready to go. They're about to do their countdown. So just keep an eye on that as these runners are about to hit that easy mode and do the prelude skip to start off this seed.
All right. They have the countdown. So one of the early divergences that you can make here, given that there's not a lot to check in the early game, especially behind the Keystone door, which was added back in shortly before the beta of Ori Rando, there has sort of been a debate going on as to whether or not heading left side for the early pickups to the left of the teleporter is justifiable or not. I think it is on the sheer basis that you have a reduced amount of pickups available to you. What are your thoughts, Zenith?
I kind of feel the same way. Usually going left there, and it looks like both players are going to be going left first. Over on this direction, the only thing that you can really unlock is Wellspring, if I'm correct. And the chances of you getting the right item combination to unlock Wellspring early by going right first and then going left, like you would have to get a perfect seed.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like King's a little bit faster on the menuing aspect, saving exactly 13 frames. Don't ask why it's 13 frames. So the runners are going to be doing the usual, just sort of early game Inquire Marsh stuff. If you're not familiar with randomizers in general, just a quick breakdown for you. Everything is everywhere else, pretty much. As you can see, King has picked up the East Woods teleporter. So skills are randomized, shards are randomized, Spirit Light's randomized, Clean Water is randomized, so it can be pretty much anywhere. Sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, obviously, a lot of things have changed between now and then. And launch is broken, so we could see a situation though, because there is a hard lock in the final dungeon with Burrow. That feather early, that's kind of nice. The hard lock with Burrow. Even if you do get launched, that can kind of sort of end up being a double-edged sword because you have access to so many different things that you can clear. And yeah, it's a fun skill, but it can also end up resulting in a different kind of seed rather than being able to read the logic. Launch kind of just breaks everything wide open.
Right. Yeah, and like you said, King's definitely got the better movement having grinded this game. He's just steadily gaining a lead over Jaychalke in this early section. But like you said, that could change once we start seeing some logic unlocks. Ooh, there's a double jump, so we know a double jump is going to be here.
Yeah, not uncommon to see that double jump, the first skill that you're intended to get in the vanilla playthrough of the game. It does unlock a fair bit of stuff. King does take a small death there, allowing Jaychalke to catch back up, and they are pretty much tied heading into this first combat arena. Looks like Jay is going to end up fighting it, and King is going to be going backtracking to do the sword jump over the edge here. Wills end up saving him a bit of time, and also not in terms of just the combat arena, but just doesn't have to climb all the way back up on a slightly slower route here that Jay's going to have to do.
Yeah, I was always thought about the difference in routing here, whether the combat arena would be faster than climbing, the long way around. And I guess if you're really good at execution, like you're seeing right now, King got to the item first, teleported out, and Jay is just getting to the item now.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty significant difference. Like the movement itself isn't like it's 6 to 1, half dozen to the other, pretty much. But that combat arena is definitely the difference. You're going to see Jay push over to another combat arena, not in logic here without Burrow. Sort of a nice early check to get out of the way. The runners are playing on easy difficulty, so this is absolutely nowhere near as terrifying to do as it would if you were playing normal or hard. I don't mind this check. It does take a little bit of time. He doesn't have any weapons or anything, so it could end up being a blessing, but in all likelihood, it's just going to be losing about a minute here.
Yeah, that's definitely the thing, is you're taking a huge gamble, 1 out of 316 that there's going to be an item that is useful here.
We'll end up seeing whether or not it pays off. So King's going to have a pretty significant time advantage here heading into Inkwater. Routing. Looks like Jay's not having a problem at all with this combat arena, by the way. He has definitely been practicing this, and he finishes it up still at full health.
Yep, and King hasn't found any significant items over in this other area that he jumped off to. Looks like Jay's opting to teleport. Maybe he's thinking about it. Yeah, he's teleporting. He's out of here.
Yeah, you're actually locked because of that combat arena, and you have to come down here to teleport. It's a weird thing.
So just even doing that arena, you burn a lot of extra time actually having to leave the arena too, just to teleport out, versus King teleporting immediately after that last item before the arena.
Yeah. In all likelihood, we'll see Jay do the combat shrine that King is on as well, just because you don't want to backtrack to this area. But based on the fact that the first combat arena that he did there didn't reward him with anything, he might feel behind. This isn't in logic anyway without regenerate. So the likelihood that this is going to be progression is pretty slim. It could still have something on it intended for you to receive on a backtrack visit, but unlikely this is be the immediate intended progression.
Now, I believe that our runners are also going to be looking for a little bit of Spirit Light. We did actually see Flap over in the Orpher shop over on King's side. So I'm wondering if he's looking for extra energy to go ahead and grab that, or, oh, Spike from Jay.
I don't think King dropped down for that. So that'll be a damage advantage for Jaychalke. It's not going to be as significant as it would on normal, just because monster health is a lot lower, but it could possibly allow him to do a really significant shriek skip later on towards the end game. Just money, pretty much, and double jump and feather here in the early going for the runners. Jay's going to be heading off to this right side pickup here. Grabs a little bit more money as King drops down to check the 2 pickups here at Bow.
Yeah, so without Bow being accessible yet, you actually need to do a little bit of either teleport out in logic or out of logic, damage yourself with double jump to get out of here. So let's see what King ends up doing.
This damage boost isn't too bad. He's going to want to check Twillin here over to the right at the very least, and the health cell above Twillin in the secret area behind the crushers, and then he'll probably end up with his 3 keystones heading back towards Hell's Den. Clean water
breath. Burrow.
Oh.
Wow, Twillin is holding the money right now.
So this is an interesting decision. Burrow doesn't really do anything right now for King. Clean water, I think that's the right play. There's a fair amount of underwater checks that are available here in early Inkwater, so clean water probably the intended progression to find whatever else is around here. And funnily enough, for whatever reason, this area doesn't have the water cleaned. It expects it to be drained, I'm assuming, is why. Ooh, King going for out of logic swim underneath. Yep, he hits the checkpoint, so he's just gonna bypass the lever and save himself probably around 10 or 15 seconds.
Now that's a skip I've never seen before.
That is standard in the any percent easy run. He's gonna come up here and buy the hint for Lupo.
Yep, Sword Tree ends up just being a little more money for Jay, so not a whole lot down here in Hollow's Den.
And he's gonna end up probably doing a revisit here too. 2 key items. Not too bad, and yep, King is now going to, with that clean water pickup, nail back and probably do a bit more clearing in Hell's Den. You can see from Jay, there's 4 out of 7 key items that he has picked up in King quarters. 3 to go.
Yep, yeah, he just got Blaze, so he's still looking for those last couple of items, thinking that, you know, he doesn't know that Burrow is on Quillen at this moment. He doesn't know Flap is on Orpher, I believe, so still looking for a couple of items here, hoping to get that nice launch or that nice Burrow, but we know that Burrow is not going to be here.
And one of the interesting things with finding Burrow this early is because of the hard lock that was talked about at the top of this race here in Willow's End. Having access to Burrow that quickly essentially means whoever's more comfortable with going to Willow's End on a more minimal skill set is probably going to have a bit of an advantage. But it depends on how fast they're able to do a dash in the clean water pickup here in Inkwater for King, so he's going to have the speed advantage for a little bit too.
Yeah, and then we have seen Dash play a big part in our races, you know, just getting those extra frames, and like we've said before, King definitely has the movement to get through these different levels, so I mean, Dash is only going to benefit.
Trying to do a out of logic pogo up here to this energy cell. Very nice. Gets the work on the last one here. 102 pesos for his troubles.
Yep, so now he's going down to the same area that Jay has already explored to go find some of the items that Jay's already got down here.
Yeah, and this is good for Jay. It's going to allow him time to go and almost got that double jump turn back there. Let's check the pickup up out here that is bash locked. But yeah, we talked about this yesterday as well. The longer that you spend on these sorts of tricks to get out of logic pickups, the more opportunity you're leaving for your opponent to get back in the game. And this is really good news for Jaychalke right here, is that this is going to buy him time to get Twillen to get clean water and get the information he needs to try and find out where Dash is.
Yeah, it looks like King ended up killing the enemy he was trying to pogo off of, so just all that time used to try that trick, unfortunately wasted because now he can't go up and get it. Well, I shouldn't say he can't get it. He technically could reset, come back, and get the enemies back, but by the time you're doing that, now you're burning even more time to get to that one item and that one check that could be nothing.
Yeah, that was a decision in my mind to try and basically avoid backtracking for that pickup later in the event that it ends up being something. Obviously, we're not going to be participants, which we haven't really talked about. Because this game is so massive in comparison to Ori 1, which actually does have a couple hints in the randomizer there as well. We have included hints to allow you to know how many, but not specifically which items are in their respective locations when you talk to Lupo the cartographer. And then you can also buy hints for some of the hard luck stuff like Water Dash and Burrow and Launch.
Right. Yeah, and the way that, correct me if I'm wrong, there's what, 325 items and locations that are in this game?
356, I believe.
356, wow. Yeah, so you're thinking, if those of you familiar with randomizers, that is the entire size of Link to the Past Super Metroid combo randomizer plus like 40 items.
Yeah. So there's a lot of pickups to check, so trying to avoid backtracking is is definitely something that you want to consider. There is one pickup behind this keystone door. Will King check it? Yes, he's going to. Okay, we've seen some important progression here before. Kind of a decision process on whether or not you want to use those keystones now, but I think with having black market keystones available on Twillin, this is kind of just a no-brainer to come and check it, even if it is a little bit slow. You don't worry about the resources too much.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how much spirit light you have too, because every time you buy a spirit, one of those black market keystones, they actually increase in price. So you could actually burn more spirit light than what you could use for other things that these shops have or could have in the future.
Yeah, but it's only, I think, a 50 spirit light increase, so I mean, you can buy some keystones and you're fine. I think the probably bigger consideration, well, not bigger consideration, but definitely a consideration, would be the hard luck hints that you can buy later on from Twillin. I think is it Twillin? I forgot. Anyway, it's 4,000 spirit light, so that is a lot of spirit light. So depending on how fast you want to go and how much you're willing to farm and check other pickups to try and recover that expenditure, definitely something to think about as well.
Right. Yeah, so Jay, going through another combat shrine here. Again, both of our runners are kind of doing checks that the other runner has already done. So it's now just a matter of who's going to kind of get out of the logic that they're in first. That's going to really show us who's in the lead.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm a little surprised here by Jay not kind of beelining over in Twillin in the early going. He elected to go into a lot of Howl's Den and some other areas of Finkwater Marsh. On the sheer basis of density, 2 shop checks between them, you have over 10 items that you can end up taking a peek at. I don't know. I'm not saying it's a bad decision, but I am surprised that he's spending as much time as he is, kind of full clearing stuff, doing the extra combat arenas, that kind of thing.
I kind of agree with you, but at the same time, doing these checks before you go to each shop, you get those checks out of the way on your way to the shop, and then you go to the shop. So, I mean,
yeah,
is it
for sure.
better to do it is it better to do it on the way, or is it better to do it, and then come back to it after checking the shop? How much more time do you waste by doing that?
Yeah, the only thing I'm thinking of is just the sheer time on the combat shrines that he spent. The one far left that we talked about earlier that was out of logic without Burrow, and then the one he was just on as well. It's a fair amount of time sink, but then, like you said, you got to travel back to it and end up fighting it anyway, so...
Looks like Jay's going to look at the item right behind Twillin first, and then go talk to Twillin. And he did beeline to Twillin instead of going down to Bowtree. Probably a good decision considering, what you ended up finding. And he grabs Burrow as well, so now he's got clean water and Burrow over Titie, or over King, I should say.
Yeah, that is going to be not much of an advantage at this point for Jay early on. Will allow him to clean up some checks a little bit faster. And this is sort of the advantage of, I guess, doing a little bit more of a full clear kind of mentality, is that if you end up having multiple pickups in shops, you're going to have the spirit light more than likely to be able to grab everything rather than backtrack, which is what King's going to have to do, find his way to Twillin. Not as big a deal with Dash, I don't think, but yeah, still definitely something that he's going to have to keep on top of.
Right. Yeah, so Jay is hitting the Bowtree up. Looks like he's going to teleport out. This is, I think, a better movement decision for Jay. Making the beeline to Twillin, then coming down the bow, then teleporting back out. Now you have clean water, and you're going to go find Dash, because we know that Dash is locked behind clean water.
Yeah, this is a smart read from Jay. This is just heads up. It's like, okay, well, I haven't really found anything so far yet, and clean water was on shops. This is probably where progression is going to be behind, whether it's gonna send me to a teleporter or another skill or something. So just one of those heads-up plays that you enjoy seeing from runners.
Yeah. And Jay's now, hammer. Yeah, so Jay's now at getting a little bit ahead of King as far as what checks they have made. Again, this I think is going to come down to Jay making the percentage checks versus King trying to have that superior movement and then read the logic. So I think I want to say Jay is a little bit ahead right now.
Yeah, and particularly with the option for hammer floats, until runners find grapple, bash, or launch, this gives Jay an opportunity to take advantage of some increased verticality as King picks up Burrow on the right side of your screen. But
Yep.
it depends on whether or not I think Jay chases hammer float pickups. If he continues to chase clean water pickups, I think he's fine. And then he just routing in the hammer float pickups. But if he decides to really chase that, I don't anticipate that he will. He knows that the hammer jumps are out of logic, gets his dash, and will be teleporting right back out. So pretty much on even footing, other than the potential sequence breaks that Jay can do, and there are a few hammer lock checks here in the early game as well.
Yeah, so he can go all the way back down to Hallow's Den to break the bone with the hammer. That was one check that you skipped by not having hammer early.
Alright, so decision time. Looks like King... Oh, King did end up grabbing hammer. Never mind. I didn't see that.
Yep, he did grab hammer, and now he's over in the arena that Jay completed first. So he's going to see if there's one item here. We know that there's no progression here, so this is actually going to let Jay catch up on that time that he burned by going through this arena first.
Yeah, a little bit. King's going to be able to wrap this up faster, and then Jay was able to. He's got the superior and intended tech with Burrow for the sandworms, and also hammer and spike to be able to deal with these enemies a little bit quicker. So still good news for Jay. But we'll have to see where the runners decide to go. They did end up getting a teleporter fairly early on, and remembering teleporters is impossible.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many teleporters to think about getting here.
Ooh, Glades TP for Jay, very nice. Remembered it was on Torn, went back and bought it. I like it.
Yep, so this is going to let him get into Glades without Bash. So normally you need Bash to break down a wall to get over here. Everyone loves the "Who tore down my wall?" along with the Soggy Skip as you clean out the Wellspring.
Worth noting here, there will be a couple items that are gated actually behind a game state with breaking that wall, so might be something runners will consider as the seed progresses. And King is going to be heading towards Luma, by the way.
You know, I don't think I can blame King for going towards Luma with clean water and having what he has. That's definitely a good move. It's going to come down to, is Water Dash over here and going to unlock more of Luma, or is it only going to be just the beginning?
Yeah, looks like King's kind of realized that that's going to be a pretty nasty sequence break for him to try and pull off. Checking his map, looking to see what teleporters he has. Sees Silent Woods. They do have Feather. Not necessarily a bad play at all. Meanwhile, Jay is going to be doing some of the Glades Quest chains here, unlocking the spines down here. Actually, with clean water too, you can go, and Burrow, you can go and check the hints down there if you want to. Ooh, Westwoods.
So to answer your question in chat, Yorberg, yes, the clean water escape actually does give a random item now. So clean water can be anywhere in the game, and the item that you get at the end of escape, I don't know if it's a random item or if it's no item. You know, Jade?
You don't, I believe, get one at the end of the escape. If you have clean water, it changes the game state so that you can just go to where the boss would be, and there's a pickup there that you can duck down under and get.
Right, so the escape never happens if you end up getting clean water first. Oh, there's Ash.
Okay, this is a bit interesting now. Because you have Bash, you have Burrow, you have Double Jump, you have Feather. This is enough, and it's not too bad, but it is enough to be able to finish the game. It's not
Now,
comfortable.
here's my question. Does he have the teleporter to get over to Silent Woods where King started out? Because if he does, he can just go right over to Silent Woods, go through that area where Shriek is trying to kill you, and then go burrow right through to Willow's End and take the elevator.
Yeah, I without Feather, I definitely wouldn't be pushing, but with Feather and Bash and Double Jump, it's something that I would very seriously be considering at this point. Maybe looking for a few more resources, like 2 more health or something like that, to be able to help damage boost. Speaking of which, half health fragment here for
More health, and he's going over to the Silent Woods. He looks like he's going for go mode. I don't blame him. That is definitely the smart play to make.
might end up doing a few checks towards the right. There's some fast checks that you can do in Windswept Wastes where you see King right now, but King is looking to sequence break via damage boosts further into Windswept and is not having fun doing it.
Yeah, so this is really coming down to King trying a little more tricks, being a little more comfortable with the game, but I think that's actually hurting him more than helping him.
Yeah, and that's really interesting at this point, honestly. Looks like he's in the vicinity to try and go into Willow's End and do some low percent stuff. This would be very, very, very bad for him because he does not have the skill set to be able to do Willow's End quickly. Might be a play to just go, well, I'm here, I'm going to go in, dip in, get a couple checks, grab the teleporter, and then see what's up. But Jay, in the meantime, is continuing to search some of Silent Woods, while King is opted to just go for the elevator, so could have a very interesting finish here.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting with King going to the elevator early. Like you said, the skill set that King has at the moment isn't great for clearing Willow's End. It is possible, but it is going to be dangerous. You don't have grapple to get through the grapple area. You don't have double jump to get through the grapple area. And you don't have hammer to hammer float through there. Oh, no, he does have hammer. Sorry. Yeah, that's still going to be really sketchy.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised if he actually goes and does more than like two hearts in Willow's End. If he actually tries to finish the game with this, that might be maybe an indicator to me that he respects Jay and his ability to route and execute, and he's just looking to say, okay, well, I have the skills to technically be able to do this, so I'm just gonna go for it. But we'll see. He's gonna go pick up launch here, not launch itself, but check the launch tree and see what that is. And I would anticipate probably go back up and grab the teleporter perhaps with some hammer floats. Gets the Wellspring TP, which is convenient. And
I'm kind of wondering if Jay realizes that he does not have the, he does have the skill set. He can go over to Willow's End. He has everything to do it. I'm just wondering if he's kind of blinded by maybe he's looking for that TP to get in a little bit faster than the elevator.
I think it comes down to more comfort, I would think. Maybe he's looking for grapple or launch, I would say. It's definitely not the easiest clear of Willow's End for Jay right now, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if he's looking to at least get grapple to assist with some of the rooms, but we'll see. He's teleporting back to Silent Woods.
Yep. So this is the correct direction, if I am remembering correctly, to go towards Willow's End. See if he actually elects to dip into the elevator, or he's getting a couple more checks and then dipping back out to look for, like you said, launch or another movement item like grapple to help kill Willow's End.
This is a read of logic, I think, from Jay. This is sort of an intended skill set to be able to get through Silent Woods, and particularly having Flap early as well. He might think that his next bit of progression is here, while King, in the meantime, has opted to just continuing to chase these sequence breaks. And like you mentioned earlier, the confidence in his own skill level to be able to do some of these checks might be slowing him down more than speeding him up.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that I have seen in Super Metroid randomizers, where your confidence to do checks could actually hinder you more than help you.
Okay, so King looks like he is going to head back to Qualix Hollow and see where he can find some progression. Ancestral Light for Jay, that's nice. That'll help for getting Shriek down faster.
Well, but he's out of Silent Woods, so I don't think Jay is looking to go to the elevator. He's looking for either that teleporter or, like you said, a launch or another movement item like grapple.
Yep, and that's not terribly surprising. I don't condemn this play in the slightest. Could just be a little bit more resources as well. He might end up making a decision, like if he doesn't end up finding a skill progression here in the near future, just, you know, if he gets another 3 or 4 health, might say, you know what, this is fine, I can damage boost. Maybe even regenerate might be enough for him to consider going.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at his life total again on easy mode. He's got a good amount of life. I know that he has practiced Shriek launchless, bashless, basically with almost no items. I don't remember like what the minimum layout he needed was to finish it, but he has practiced it.
So he's heading back to chase some of the clean water checks. I don't mind this at all. Might end up finding something here. Meanwhile, King is going to end up clearing out the rest of Qualix Hollow here by the looks. I didn't catch how many key items when Jay alt-L'd there.
Yeah, I didn't catch it either, to be honest.
No worries.
Yeah, so this is now coming down to who's going to get the lucky check to push them into Willow's End. Both of our runners have the items that they need outside of maybe a couple more life or maybe a better movement to get through Willow's End.
What's interesting is that there's a reasonable amount of pickups that are, well, especially on Jay's side, because he has Bash, right? So that opens up a pretty significant amount of checks. King, in the meantime, does not have Bash as of yet. So he's looking for the next intended bit of progression, whereas Jay has access to some of the Wellspring content, which he can go do. Bow's Reach, if he wanted. He's got Flap to be able to do some of the early checks there. So it'll kind of be interesting to see what you're really looking for here from both runner sides is where's the density of checks, and I think King is making the logical decision here. Accidental Hornbug, or he's finishes it off pretty quickly. In terms of, you know, what is the game expected to be next, and I believe Bash was in the near vicinity here, so he'll be catching up on skills fairly quick, and then we go back to the discussion of execution. Will he be comfortable with Bash heading into his end?
Nice little shuriken from that hand-to-hand quest that Jay just started off on. And a water dash.
Looks like King is confused where to go. That is definitely a possible danger of being willing to sequence break a whole bunch of crap. You forget what's in and out of logic. I can definitely attest to some of that. Glade's hint coming in from Jay. So he knows that there's 5 more items to find in Glades. That is a lot of key items in one area. Oh.
Yeah, so now we know that the key item that he might be looking for could be Gorlock locked, it could be Trade Quest locked, it could be Could be behind Orfer, having to do the wellspring clear.
Got a lot of different potential options here. Could be the item that he's looking for as well. Bails on the hammer float there. Decides to go and see what else that he can find. But with clean water and water dash, and bash as well, this might end up signaling to Jay that he should do wellspring and then drop down into the pools, and it looks like that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, and that's a really good decision, in my opinion, for Jay, not burning a lot of time on these harder tricks. You know, like I said a couple of times already, you know, you burn a lot of time on these tricks, and you're burning more time trying to do them and get that out of logic check. Oh, grapple!
Will that signal go mode for Jay? That's
Yeah, that he's still looking around, so I don't know. He's not teleporting yet.
Interesting, because grapple definitely makes a lot of areas in Well Zen a lot easier.
Does he have the? No, he does have Silent Woods because he's been there a couple of times.
Yeah,
so what,
he would just
he's
have
waiting
to go
on.
there. And... again, I don't know what Jay's comfortable with in terms of finishing. You were talking about how he was doing some low percent shriek fights, so oh, and light burst as well. Like, there's even more verticality, especially with bash. Obviously, you can do grenade floats if you so desire. So yeah, Jay's in a position, I think, Cinev, what do you think, to just go and finish this?
Yeah, I mean, Jay really needs to realize that he can go to Silent Woods right now and just start finishing the game. He's got the life. Oh, is he going? Is he going for it? He's going for it. He might have just realized, you know what? He may have been looking for a couple extra items over here. I mean, may as well check them while you're here. You know, this launch could have been over there. It could have been, you know, more energy. It could have been more life. You know, anything that would help clear out Willow's End at that point. Although he's not going towards the Willow's End entrance. So where is he going now?
Against the runner of King's caliber in terms of skill, I would be absolutely terrified. He is going towards Willow's End here, just
Okay.
from the other side. I would be terrified that he's got what he needs to be able to finish, and I would just be going. King, in the meantime, still is digging around for that bash. So he's in a pretty dire situation here. Jay can go into Willow's End pretty much whenever he wants, whereas King still needs at least bash, I would say, to be comfortable hiding there. So this right now is a matter of Jay's comfort level in whether or not he wants to go and finish the game, and it looks like he is committing to it. He sat at the teleporter there for a few seconds, did a couple extra checks in Windswept Wastes while he was thinking about it, and yep, he's heading to the elevator.
Yep. So we'll see how much Jay is willing to stay through this. Wondering if Jay's actually going to go check the launch tree. He'll go look at the launch on his way over here, and that's probably not a bad check. We know it's not there, but the runners do not know that. They haven't seen each other's seeds or where they've been. Like you said, he's probably scared that King has exactly what he has right now and found it faster and is already over here.
So this elevator combat won't be a problem for Jay. He's got Hammer, he's got Ancestral Light, he's got Spike. So this will be a pretty easy clear for Jay, and we'll look away in the meantime behind the Dash Crushers. Down in Colossus Hollow for King. Still digging around for that that bash pickup, and the sequence breaks seem to be basically the story of this one. King turning around and trying to basically do what he knows he's capable of doing instead of what the logic might expect him to be doing, and he's ended up being a bit lost here.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Is, you know, with 80%, you really don't think about where the items are because they're always in the same place. With Randomizer, you know, yeah, you can do the tricks and it takes you a second, but you don't know that doing those tricks and them taking a second is going to be worth it.
No, that's exactly what makes randomizers fun, is that you can be a lesser player in terms of skill, but a better player in terms of routing and decision making, and you can take games off of players that you would expect to beat you otherwise in a traditional speedrun.
So it looks like Jay is actually opting to get off the elevator, not too
What?
comfortable with getting up on the side there. I'm wondering if he's looking for something else. There's water breath. He's got burrow, so he's gonna take water breath while he's here.
I am very confused by Jay right now.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's keeping him from going up there.
At the very least, you go and you grab the teleporter. And if you decide that you want to do checks after that, but now he's got to backtrack. Oh, Bo. On over.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I don't think Jay's throwing the game. You know, I was telling Jay before the race, you know, I'm wishing you good luck. I hope you beat King. And he's like, you know, I hope so too. But I don't think it's gonna happen because King is just an amazing player. So he definitely wasn't feeling too good in this matchup. But again, well, like we said a couple of times, it really does come down to how good can you read the logic? How good can you get out of being stuck just doing the same hard tricks and go back into logic? Yeah.
Yeah, and Jay's had the advantage here for a pretty significant length of time now. In terms of reading that logic, he got his bash, he went and got grapple. I disagree, even disregarding for a second, you know, the decision whether or not you want to go and beat the game. You're at Willow's End. You've already done the elevator. You've spent all that time doing that. Go grab the teleporter. So that when you do decide to go and finish, it's faster for you to get there. He does technically Saber. There's something about this loadout that he is not comfortable with, and I'm not too sure what it is at this point.
I think he's fixing launch.
But I've seen him do launchless finishes before. That's the thing. I know he's comfortable with it, but I am baffled. In the meantime, King still in the midst of confusion. Has decided to go back to Wellspring, which is an out of logic teleporter, by the way. He picked that up through a sequence break, so anything that he does here is still for him out of logic, even though we know that the skills now have been made available to put this in logic.
Right. Which, I mean, is again not a terrible decision because your locked item that you need could be over here in Wellspring. Jay's teleporting out, going back towards Windswept Waste now to go clear that out. He's got everything he needs to clear Windswept out. Maybe launches over here.
I'd be interested to see his Spirit Light. Yeah, 1406, he's a ways away from being able to buy the hard lock things too, to be able to figure out where launch would be in the siege. So it can't be farming, I don't figure. Try and get that in. That doesn't seem to make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mix of maybe farming and, like I said, just hoping to run into launch. I think that's what is really pushing him to do this. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't want to be wrong. What I want to do is go into a channel with Jay and yell at him and be like, dude, go kill Shriek.
Yeah, I mean Sentry might be enough for him. That's like pseudo launch, right?
Yeah. No key items in way, so he is out of here. Meanwhile, King really hasn't found anything of value for all the checks that he's been doing. So he hasn't gotten bash, he hasn't gotten, you know, grapple, he hasn't gotten any of the he hasn't gotten the water dash.
Yeah, and this is the danger of not just committing time to sequence breaks, but sequence breaking itself, is that he isn't looking in areas where progression, like intended progression, could be. Now, it's entirely possible he finds launch through this sequence break and just wins the game. Regenerate for Jay in the meantime on the left-hand side definitely makes a lower percentage Willow's End significantly easier. Will that be his go mode? Doesn't look like it. Looks like he wants to come back and hear more of Inkwater.
Yeah, he's looking around. Not going to the pull the lever. trying to get that energy down there. So he has everything to pull the lever. He didn't do that. What is he looking for?
I have no idea at this point.
Does he even have all the items in Inkwater at this point?
I think he's missing
Wait.
one. Is he going back to Aluma? Is that what he's trying to do here? I mean, this is logic at this point. Have feathers. Have feathers. Okay, he's coming down
Yeah.
with the water check.
So he skipped another item there that you could have grabbed. He has all key items in this area.
Burrows. Interesting. Yeah, so he's done with Inkwater, so this is definitely him heading into Burrows.
Again, trying to go for these low percentage checks now. Burrows definitely only has a few items in it, where there could be launch or another item that Jay feels like he's missing. Again, we're kind of just guessing at this point what Jay is looking for, but Jay, really the only items that he could be looking for is launch and sentry.
Yeah, I like the play here, despite, well, I am taking the sequence break thing out of the discussion for a second. I like what King did. He went up and just grabbed a Lupo hint, discovered that there were no key items here, and he's just bailing. So this hopefully is going to put him back in a position to think about the logic a little bit more and see what it is that he may have missed. And he's actually on his way. He's got grapple nearby. I think it was this check over to the left up top, but he doesn't have bash to be able to get to it easily. You'd have to do damage boosts. I forget if it was underwater or not. It was not. Okay.
Yeah, apologies for us not remembering where exactly the key items are in the seed. Again, 350 items plus to try and remember where everything is. All we can know is exactly what these runners have picked up so far.
Yeah, I think grapple might be bash lock. And I mean, there's hammer float strats that he could do to be able to sequence break into that.
Yeah, but once again, those sequence breaks, having to do them the hard way is going to burn a lot more time than actually having.
Yeah. I thought that the king had the Glades TP. Sometimes I can definitely sympathize with this. You're thinking about where progression is going to be, so you have an idea where you want to go. And so you just kind of go there the slightly longer way to buy yourself time to think about, what do I need to do now?
So I'm going to dub this area that Jay's in right now the Ori Forgotten Highway. For those of you who are familiar with the Super Metroid, there's an area that you typically don't see run through, and this is the equivalent in Ori. This area where you're gliding through, getting these different keystones and Gorlick ores. This is not an area you typically see in any run.
Pretty quick series of checks though, so I don't mind it at all.
Yeah, it's definitely got some item density. So it's again, I'm not saying it's a bad decision or anything,
Yeah,
but
for sure. Westwood's TP for King. He may end up going to chase that. I hope not. Why don't you go get bashed, buddy?
yeah, trying to find that bash somewhere in the seed is exactly what I think King is looking for to make Willow's End bearable. After that, I think King's going to be in full-on go mode.
Wait, Jay has grenade, and he did not continue in Bowers.
Nope, he
Thinking
dipped out
emoji.
he's doing the trading quest.
Ah.
There's triple jump. Oh, is that enough? Is that going to do it?
He's thinking. Looks like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like he
So-
just wanted a bit more stall.
Yeah, he just wanted triple jump to be able to get up there. So now King is definitely in the one to lose this race if he doesn't find Bash anytime soon. He's carefully thinking about, okay, where have I been? What logic haven't I done? And this is kind of, like you said, the danger of doing it out of logic checks, because you do checks in places and then leave other checks that you just don't remember if you've done them or not, because you've been to the area already.
Yeah. Plus the backtracking for the other pickups that you couldn't get even with sequence break tech, right? So, ooh, grenade floating from Jay, very nice.
Yeah, grenade floating is definitely a nice tech to be able to get through different areas. Looks like he might try to go for another triple jump, grenade float, get a little bit of a damage boost here. Doesn't quite get the grenade float, so he's going to try that trick again. There it
Yeah.
goes.
See, this is kind of what I was talking about with not getting the teleporter after the initial elevator sequence. He had to come all the way back here. He was up against this wall, I believe, on his first attempt already, and now he's struggling with it despite having triple jump. Race nerves, definitely a thing. We'll probably see him come down to get this very shortly. King is going to do a turn back double jump, probably into a hammer float here. Check this core liquor pickup. Jay did give this, I think, 2 attempts and then failed. King gives it about 3 or 4 and then fails.
Oh, so he has bash now. He just did his item check, so he actually has bash.
Alright, good. So, I would definitely expect King to be more comfortable with low percent Willow's End strats. He is on his way. If he sticks out with this progression chain here in Wellspring, he's very shortly going to find grapple, and that might be enough for him to.
Yep, and it looks like Jay is just entering into Willow's End now. Going to go try and get to that TP as quickly as possible to grab that. Oh, it looks like King grabs grapple. Is that going to be enough to throw King into Willow's End, or is he going to keep looking like Jay did, looking for either launch or triple jump?
Yeah. In my mind, if I'm King right now, having done all these sequence breaks, I feel incredibly behind, having not found that and grapple for so long. I would probably give it a go and assume that my opponent did Willow's End.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to who feels more behind right now. Chat, what do you think? Does Jay feel behind facing someone who definitely has better movement tech, is more familiar with doing 80% kind of runs? Or does King feel behind having found those items so late in the seed? Get your votes in chat.
Triple jump definitely making things a little easier here for Jay. Nice mid-air. I guess they're pogo strats, but they aren't really pogos because you're not hitting anything. But we'll call them pogos. To be able to get that little bit of extra verticality, to be able to get into this air. It takes a death though, and is sent all the way back to the door. That is a time loss for Jay. And King is heading back to Windswept Place. He knows there's nothing here though. He bought the hint.
Yeah, so I'm wondering what he's looking for, or maybe, like we've been saying, King is so entrenched in, what logic have I done? What logic have I done out of logic? What have I checked? He's forgotten that there's nothing over here. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now, and that's why he's over here.
Yeah, entirely possible. It's definitely easier from the commentary booth to remember what's happening in the game than it is when you're running and when you've checked.
Yeah, and again, I mean, both of these runners are given, respect to each other as far as their skill set. King knows that Jay is a better randomizer runner. And King is now getting the hint, seeing that there's no items again here.
Okay, that's my fault. I thought that he got the hint already. That must have been on Jay's side.
Now King's really thinking, where can I go with what I have? He's mad. He's looking at Silent Woods thinking about it.
Jay, in the meantime, doing a pretty good job here of clearing this area of Willow's End without launch. He's got the grenade floats going on. Was looking to chain that into a hammer float to get up on that wall and refresh his double jump. And does so successfully on the second try. Very nice. And this is where he died last time. Yeah,
Oh
another...
no! Oh, he's going for it.
Okay, and that's the advantage of playing on easy, is that you could just damage tank lasers and get to the heart.
Yep. So he finally gets that first heart down. He's got to be sweating, arm spaghetti, the whole thing. You know, getting that first heart down, thinking that King's got the items and definitely ahead of him. But neither runner has seen the dot done yet. So it is anyone's game in their minds as far as where they are and looking for the items that they need.
That was definitely one of the harder checks for Jay to get done with his skill set. So well done to him. You have regenerate, Jay.
He does have regenerate. He doesn't have a whole lot of energy to use it, and it's just now a matter of getting onto that center area there to be able to use regenerate if you take damage. Just not getting into the wheel quickly enough. So he's just looking for trying to get past it now. Oh, and he's in there. So now he just needs to jump over to this other heart. Takes a little bit of damage, but he's slowly moving over there. So we're getting there.
I'm sorry. I'm incredibly amused that he's been doing these grenade floats, and then just remembered that he can bash the grenades. Rando brain is rando brain.
Yep, rando brain is rando brain, especially when you're facing someone as skilled as King. And,
yeah.
You know, in a redemption round too. You know, this is you're putting the rest of your tournament on the line here. If you lose here, you're done.
Speaking of rounds, it's winner going on to face Aiko in the losers bracket finals. Whichever one takes this, Jaychalke or King, and then the winner of that one will go to face Dr. Tua.
Jay grabbing that second heart, getting the crushing wheel skip, so he's got 2 hearts down, quite a little bit to go. But he's definitely got the advantage now. He's just got to clear out the rest of Willow's End and call this a match.
So 4 hearts left. Looks like King is going to be heading into Bowers Reach to do some checks here. I did not see whether he has acquired Light Burst. I don't think he has. So he's
I don't think he has either.
Yeah, he's gonna do some of the early checks here anyway. See what he can get done.
It'd be actually kind of interesting to see if Launch is over in Bowers Reach. I mean, we do technically have all the items in Logic to look through all of Bowers Reach, so it could technically be over here.
He does have Light Burst. So yeah, he can full credit it pretty much.
Yeah, if you guys see either runner using a skill or an item that I haven't marked, please let me know. I am trying to stay up to date, but it is definitely hard to see exactly what everyone's collecting, especially when they're moving so fast here to see.
And you're commentating.
Yeah, and you're commentating.
Yeah, props to you for trying to do both at the same time. That is a job I do not envy, that's for sure.
But it's nothing compared to the, getting the spike through the wall to kill that heart, saving 15 seconds on that. Now he's just got to teleport back, go get the other hearts on the other side, and then start heading up.
So King did buy the hint here for Bowers Reach. He knows there is a key item here, singular, and is electing to chase it to see if that is the intended progression.
How terrible would it be if it's Flash?
Oh my god. And then launches in Moldwood Depths.
Mm-hmm.
Entirely possible.
Or it could be Sentry too, because we haven't seen Sentry yet either.
Yeah, I think Sentry for King would be like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, so the worst item to find here would definitely be Flash. Launch and Sentry would definitely push King into finishing.
Unless, of course, it's on the hand-to-hand quest, which would be
Mm-hmm. Or it could be behind all the Gorlakor. We haven't seen all the Gorlakor get turned in yet.
He's going to activate the teleporter, take a look at the map, have a think. He's going to be filtering. He's doing a pretty quick job with it, all things said, given the skill set here.
Yeah, so I think King's in the same mindset that Jay was in earlier, just looking for that extra bit of movement in order to clear out Willow's End. And honestly, like you said, not something you really fault the runner for doing. It is what you're comfortable with fighting, fighting the boss with and getting through this area. This is not a nice area to get through if you don't have all the items to do it.
Hmm.
Hey, Semper, how you doing? And Saber's in here as well. Yoberg is in here as well. Let's start getting some hype in the chat for the coming up on the end of this round here. Jay's definitely far into the lead. He just needs to get a couple more hearts.
Yeah, King's in a position, unfortunately, where he needs to find a launch, I would say, in order to be able to have a shot at this. Because Jay's going to take some time going through this without launch, for sure. He's going to have to do some interesting tech to get through these rooms. I think he has 3 hearts left to go. Launch definitely makes it significantly faster. But it's the clock's running out on King.
Yep, and here comes the next heart going down on Jay's side. So yeah, he's only got a couple hearts left. He's got to kill the elemental boss. He's got to go get a couple of other things over there. Betty, how are you doing today?
Interested to see what this key item here is in Balance Reach. It could be Shuriken.
No, we've seen Shuriken. It's not over here.
You have? Okay.
Yeah, we have seen Shuriken.
Mm,
I don't remember exactly where it was, but Jay collected it.
elemental kill here shouldn't be too close to Jay. He's got Spike. Shield here. Fire a whole bunch of projectiles. Wasn't able to sneak that last shot in and finish it off. That's the problem. Got a bunch of health. Go over to the right side today. Is anything?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Ends up.
Ignore the enemy. Fine.
Yeah, he's just trying to kill this boss as quickly as possible.
Let's hammer float up and get the finish. Alright, cool.
I mean, I don't know if you can blame him.
No, it gets the job done. That's how it is.
So now we're down to 1 or 2 hearts left, I believe, over on Jay's side before Shriek is fully unlocked and the fight begins. Meanwhile, King is still looking for that little bit of extra movement to even start Willow's End. I think at this point, this is definitely Jay's game to lose.
Yeah, and there's not much that's really gonna... He might have to teleport back out here because he doesn't have... Well, he could do... Oh, he doesn't have energy, that's right. Yeah, so he might have to teleport. I was gonna say he could do a bash nade, but he's out of energy, so this is probably gonna be a teleport situation for Jay. Gonna cost him a little bit of time. Oh my god, it is Flash and Power's Reach.
My crystal ball comes through again.
Oh, that's actually really bad news for King, because he might chase this, and that would be game for him.
Oh, I think it's already game for him. Like I said, Jay's only got a couple of hearts left, and it's just a matter of clearing them at this point.
Yeah, he is going to be slowed down by having to teleport out of the boss room and then climb his way back up, but it's not the biggest of time losses, and especially not in this position with the lead that he has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, both runners, all they know is they haven't seen that dot done, so they know that neither of them have finished. It's just a matter of how close they are to finishing.
Hmm. Oh, King gets some speed.
Oh no.
That's especially rough because he gets to see this cutscene again.
Yep, and burning a lot more time now having to go through this cutscene again.
Interestingly enough, there were 2 key items in Qualix Hollow, and King has found neither of them. Despite all that sequence breaking he was doing in Hollow earlier. That one
There's
of
that shuriken. Yep, the hand-to-hand quest.
Alright, there's that. And I don't think Jay broke the wall, so... Could be
He did end up he did end up breaking the wall eventually.
Oh yeah,
So I
obviously
think
water tap is there. All right, so Jay coming up on, I believe his last part here. This is probably going to be the tricky one, one that's going to cost him the most time compared to all the other hearts. But we'll see how he handles it. He is used to doing this room for sure with less skills.
Yeah, like I said, I have watched him practice. And by the way, if you guys aren't following our runners, be sure to follow this channel where Jaychalke normally streams. Go follow King as well over on his channel. Shafe also does some great streaming. So if you guys aren't following these guys, they're great streamers in their own right. And you need to check them out. Give them some love.
There's a guy named Sineth, apparently, who also does some gameplay. I don't. You should go take a look, I suppose. See what's up.
All right, so it looks like Jay did go past the heart. It looks like he's gonna just go grab this heart on the way back out. I can't fault him for that decision because it's easy as going around this laser again, going over to that heart chamber and just killing that heart.
All right, cursor lock is exactly what it sounds like. It locks your cursor. Nice. Grenade float there. So King is going to be using the dash nade to clear out more of the glades. Spirit Surge. Ultra grapple for Jay. Not that really matters. No enemies that he would want to grapple off of here anyway. So he is just about ready to go on to Shriek and wrap this one up.
Yep,
And
he's
there
on the
is-
door, he's going through, he's just gotta jump up and start the Shriek fight. I'm hoping he actually goes and regens his energy, but where's that save point? Is it over here on the left? Nope, he's just going straight up.
Should be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would have refilled, but he's probably feeling behind, and I don't blame him. Again, you know, going against someone, like we said in the very beginning of this race, King, his movement, his skill, doing 80%, it's something that you fear. But Jay's got the advantage of logic, and that's really what it came down to, is Jay ended up not doing a lot of complicated tricks, going completely out of logic to go do tricks, and, you know, it really helped him do that, where King did a lot more out of logic.
Yeah, Jay just kind of doing a better job reading the seed here, pretty much.
And Cosmic is correcting me. It looks like your health and energy refills when you start the freak fight.
So this is the hard part of the Shriek to come on. Definitely good.
Yeah, getting through the escape here is not fun, but like I said, definitely doable.
Do a bad play.
Trying to get that cheeky spike hit on Shriek. I don't know if he actually got the hit.
Oh my god. King finds launching plates.
Yep, so this is going to help King catch up on that Shriek clear, but is it going to be enough while Jay is doing the escape right now into phase 2? There would have to be some epic tomfoolery at this point. You know, Jay would have to die a couple of times on this phase.
I don't know, maybe he hasn't had breakfast yet and just wants to go and pick up some bacon and eggs.
Alright, and there is the start of phase 3.
He's just gonna go hang out on the right side of this platform here. Turns out Shriek doesn't do any damage to you. Turning her over here, so you can take a sip of your beverage of choice. I am currently drinking some
King is realizing that he does not have a teleporter to get in. He's underneath the elevator. He's trying to remember how to get through here. Yeah, he's not remembering how to get through to the top of the elevator. He can't get over to Willow's End. Again, this is just not knowing how the randomizer might work, being so used to 20%. And that is the end of the game. Jay on top, the winner, the first dot done, the underdog, not going to be playing Super Metroid today. GGJ, he must be feeling good right now. Let's see if we can get him in for an interview.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
That
Jay,
was
I gotta ask you, how do you feel taking down King?
I feel amazing. I'm curious what King's doing on his side. Does he know there's a teleporter down below?
Yeah, I didn't know that, but I just learned about it just by the game.
Oh,
I didn't realize.
hey, wow, that was stressful. So, where was launch? Did you find launch?
Yeah, I found launch. It was
Just,
in
you
town.
just found launch.
Yeah,
It was
I'm
in Glades.
Yep.
Where?
Top the ore at the top left.
Oh my
Jay,
goodness.
I gotta
Yeah.
ask you, how do you feel
Yeah.
taking
So
down King?
oh man, that was stressful because I was like, oh, I only have double jump. I don't have grapple. I don't really have. I mean, I didn't have really a lot to do. Launch.
Yeah, I didn't
Willow, and
know
was
that,
like,
but I just learned about it just by
So I
the
kept
game.
like going back and forth on what I
didn't
wanted to
realize.
do. I thought maybe I would dip into Bowers Reach, potentially to find
Yeah, I found
Sentry.
launch. It was in town.
But I knew once I had grapple.
Yeah,
Yep.
And triple.
Top,
I knew once I found
ore
triple.
at the top
excuse me,
left.
hold on.
Yeah.
Sorry. I knew once I found triple jump, because I went into Willow's End. I tried to do it with double jump. I was like, I need that extra oomph.
Do you have dash?
Sorry.
Do you have dash?
Yes.
Okay. I have triple jump. Did you find that?
Yes, that's what put me in go mode. Yeah, so the moment I found triple jump, I was like, okay, I can do this now. It's not going to be fun, but I can do it because I don't know where launch is. I don't know if it's locked behind all of the ore, because when I saw 9 key items in what you call it, Glades, I was like, wow.
Glades, yeah.
that was pretty intense. So I think overall my Willow's End was okay. I want to say the first part, as always, is the worst because there's just really no room for error. But that triple jump was definitely a really good find. Yeah, that launch in Glades, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, this was, in my opinion, kind of a bit of an interesting start because Jay, you were pretty much reading the logic. You were behind on execution, as I figure you might expect to have been against a racer of King's caliber. But King ended up chasing sequence breaks with hammer floats and tried to do some wraparound double jumps and that kind of thing. So he ended up missing Bash for probably a good solid 10 or 15 minutes behind you.
So long.
That's the thing about
really long finding your Bash.
Yeah, that's the thing about logic. Like sometimes, like you said, when you start sequence breaking and you start running into sequence break after sequence break after sequence break, you can really start to lose your way, I guess you could say. Ooh, nice quick Bash
I'm just
puzzle.
finishing
yeah, though that was man, it was really stressful because I was like, man, with this loadout, if King found Sentry, where like none of us found Sentry. Like I think the greatest thing that could have happened was Sentryless.
I was waiting for Sentry or launch. I didn't feel like doing it without those two. Like one of those.
Indeed. I would not have done this if I didn't have grapple. I knew finding grapple was big time because I was not about to do launchless without grapple. So I was very happy to find grapple when we did. And like I was so indecisive. I was like, you know what? When I was in Wellspring, I was like, I'm gonna go into Wellspring. I was like, nah, I'm actually gonna go do feeding ground skip and clear out wastes.
I did a bit of Wellspring as well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And there was nothing in waste. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna rush all the lupos. So I started rushing all the lupos. Nothing in burrow, nothing in wastes, nothing in. It was just nothing after nothing after nothing. I was like, oh my gosh. So like something has to be in Glades. I was like, am I gonna spend more time looking for ore to unlock? So I guess actually it was seed locked because you need to unlock the I guess logically you would need to unlock the grapple spots, if that makes sense, in Glades.
No, I did it with light burst.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Do you have light burst?
So
yes.
there was a good amount of time, if you guys go back to watch this, that me and Shafe and I should say, we're basically saying to both of you, why aren't you going to go kill Shriek now? And I mean, you kind of answered that question, Jay, by saying I was really looking for a triple jump for my go mode.
Yeah,
I mean, you
I tried it with
probably
double.
could have.
I
Yeah.
tried it with double, and I knew that it just wasn't gonna be a fun time because I
Right.
love there are a few areas that I like to double jump off into a grenade jump midair that
Hmm.
it's just so different if you don't have that third jump.
Hmm.
Because then you really depend on the pogos. And
Hmm.
instead of depending, I mean, I did have to do quite a few pogos, but instead of having to depend on a lot more pogoing, I was able to get that third jump in, and that was huge. When I
Mm.
found that, um, and I always forget about the hand to hand. So when I found that there, I was like, dang, I could have had that like forever ago. Um, but yeah, I'm overall really impressed and happy with the way this turned out. Launch list is not easy.
No, it's not.
And
And definitely commending you for that, Jay. That was definitely the stellar plays that you put in there. So I mean, again, if you guys go back to watch this, please don't feel insulted that we're like, why aren't you doing this? It's it's one of those things that we're like, we're both looking at the logic, going, technically, it's possible. Yes, it's going to hurt, but at least you're doing it.
Well,
I
that's
don't
our
know.
job as commentators anyway, to poke fun at the runners a little bit. So
I'm curious
That's true.
actually if
That's
I
true.
would have stuck with it. I mean, I've done Willow's End in practice with the same loadout with just double jump, but I was just like, I don't know, like the more time that I spend, and that's if I have Willow's End TP. If I had Willow's End TP, I probably would have just gone. But that very beginning where the elevator is getting up there is so so complicated. Um, so I went ahead and just I was gonna go once I found Sentry, triple jump, or launch. Those were the items
Mm.
that I was looking for. So I went to all of like the item dense areas, hoping to find Sentry, launch, or triple jump. And I found triple jump ultimately, and which was the third least item I was hoping to find. I would have rather had Sentry or, of course, launch would be number one
Mhm.
because with midair Sentry jumps, it would have just been it just would have been much easier. Anyways, but let's take a look at the bracket.
yeah, I was just gonna say, Jay, you are coming up on a rematch against Aiko.
Yes.
Your thoughts on that? You looking for that revenge? You feeling a little bit nervous? You feeling confident? What's the story there?
I am very much looking forward to a rematch versus Aiko. The last match we had was literally just a couple minutes between each other, and it just came down to I don't exactly. Oh, it came down to hand burrow,
Mm-hmm.
and me not having water dash entering Luma pools for the first time, whereas Aiko had water dash entering Luma pools the first time. So she was able to completely full clear it, whereas I, leaving to go get water dash, came back a second time to basically go through and get all of the. So that right there made the difference. And so I was hoping to have a rematch against Aiko, so it's going to be a good time, I think.
Do you think
King,
there's
closing thoughts
anything?
for you on the tournament and how you felt you performed?
Oh, it was super fun. I'm really disappointed about this run because I felt like I got like so many items, like so many key items, but just not the correct ones, and like
Yeah.
yeah, I got outplayed. It was
Yeah, that's
fun.
probably what it came down to. Jay, was there anything that you may have learned along the way doing this tournament? Watching other people do the tournament, commentating on the tournament. With the seed, is there anything that you may have learned about the seeds that you've been doing recently?
Well, I'd say the big thing that I've learned so far watching and running is the hand to hands and how important they can be. Especially, when you go into these areas, do not forget about your hand to hands. I tend to do that. Like I went to Glades, I ran right past Talk without talking to him, and he could have had launch. Like he legitimately could have had launch. And you're going on these super long world tours, and launch could be there the entire time. And another thing is just seeing different ways of achieving the same check. So like there's so many different ways: hammer jumps, grenade jumps, all different kinds of things, and then which is quicker. So I like to watch, the runners, see what they do and time it and see if it's quicker, if it's not. I've learned a couple things with, particular wall jumps, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and logic, of course, big time logic. Also knowing what I'm comfortable with for go moding. If you would have talked to me like a month ago, I would have required every item on the tracker to complete the seeds. Because and so now I feel like every week or so that goes by, I'm removing an item from my go mode. So it's just it's pretty cool.
All right, guys, I think that is going to wrap it up here. What are we looking to get into next year?
So nothing's on the schedule yet. So right now, actually, there are 3 runners left in the tournament. Aiko the Blue versus myself in the loser bracket finals. And the winner of that match, which is the best of 1, will go on to the grand finals versus Dr. Tuin. And that is a best of 3. And if the loser bracket finalist beats Dr. Tuin, it will reset the bracket and there'll be another best of 3. So potentially 6 matches.
Nice.
Is going to be insane. So I would like a shot against Dr. Tuin. So I need to really focus, and there are some things. There are a lot of routing things I could definitely clean up, like why am I moving here when I could teleport here? Why am I teleporting here when I can move here? Why didn't I get this teleport? Why didn't I check this item when I was here? There's all these kinds of things that like every second counts, especially when I only lost by like in the grand scheme of things, when it's an hour plus, and our seed was almost 2 hours, and I only lost by about 2 minutes. That's big time, right? So like every second counts. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to having a rematch against Aiko, and if I lose, I lose. Aiko is an amazing runner, and she's also one of the main developers, so she has a greater understanding of logic and whatnot.
Yoberg, that depends on scheduling. I imagine Jay is going to be trying to schedule a match with Aiko today.
Yeah.
I linked the Discord there for you, so you can pop in and check it out and get an update on when that match is scheduled. In the meantime, Jay, I expect perhaps that you will be either taking a break or putting in some practice on your stream.
Yes. So it looks like whenever Aiko and I schedule, it could be today, it could be tomorrow. This was meant to be a 2-day tournament, but it's been so hype, and we've just kind of King is ahead. Oh no, I gotta get back in. We're racing. First one to reach the end wins, Kappa.
No.
Anyways.
All right, guys.
Yeah, so whenever we can get that scheduled, I also actually, fun fact, have made a schedule now. So you can check that to make sure nothing has been scheduled if you want to. And yeah, I think that'll be it for this. Thank you guys so much for commentary, and thank you, Sineth, for tracking. That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming out and showing us a good race for both of our runners. Again, guys, if you haven't followed our runners, be sure to follow this channel for Jaychalke. Go follow King over on his channel. Give a follow over to Shafe as well, and you can give myself a follow if you would like.
Don't follow Shafe. He plays Ori 1. Gross.
Yes, please do follow these lovely people and these lovely people for spending some of their time helping us out. All right, with that being said, have a great day, everyone, and I'll bring this down, and I will be back in a bit, maybe with some personal stuff, until Aiko reaches out to me. This has been a pretty incredible tournament so far. I'm happy to have come this far. Knocking down Artemis was definitely the highlight of my tournament, I think. But definitely knocking down King.Titie was also quite amazing as well, to have a rematch against Aiko. So I'm looking forward to it. All right. Thanks, guys, again. Have a great day, and goodbye.
You as well.